And I guess we are, okay. Do I have to press?
No,
I guess we're recording.
The recording light is on.
Is it? Oh, everybody else?
Yes.
Oh, I see it up there. Okay. So Mary Ann, you may take over from here.
Okay, since we have a quorum, I'd like to call the meeting to order. And the first thing I'm required to do is to read the script for remotely conducted open meetings. So please bear with me. As a preliminary matter, this is Mary Ann Easley, Chair. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Allison.
Aye.
Diane.
Aye.
You're here. Vanessa. Kendra.
Yes.
Jude. I know you're not here. Susie.
Yes.
Linda.
Yes.
And myself. Thank you. Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Laura Stewart.
Here.
And Jericho Mealy. And Jericho, I'm going to have you introduce yourself after I go through this whole thing.
I am present.
There are no anticipated speakers for this meeting. Good afternoon, everybody. This open meeting of the Council on Aging is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with the agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment if there is anybody in attendance. For this meeting, the Council on Aging is convening by video conference via Zoom app as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and to take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless I note otherwise. Meeting business ground rules. Now we are turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in a conversation with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. For items with public comment, after members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment to those members of the public that have joined the meeting via Zoom. Members of the public who wish to speak must state their names and be acknowledged by and speak through the chair. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. That is the official script. Before we commence with the agenda, I'd like Jericho to introduce himself since he is the new Head of Human Services, and it's really nice to have him join us for his first meeting. So Jericho, could you please tell us a little about yourself? Jericho.
Where'd he go?
He must have left for pressing business.
No, Jericho, you're muted.
There we go. So yeah, my name is Jericho. I'm the new tailor, more or less. Allison is my mother. Got out of the way right off the bat. And then I've been in this position since Monday, so I'm going to be kind of running catch up a little bit.
Jericho, you can take your mask off if you want, if you're alone in your office.
We have an open door and there's
Oh.
out, so
But you're going to have to speak louder.
All right.
Can't hear you.
Let me see where the mic pickup is. Oh, well, whatever. I'll just talk loud. So yeah, I am the new tailor. I will be taking over most of her jobs. I'm going to be getting up to speed, hopefully very quickly. I hope probably this particular meeting, I'm going to be mostly listening. There might be a few questions, and if there's anything you guys would like to bring up and direct towards me, feel free. But I'm not aware enough of what you guys are up to right now to meaningfully contribute as much as I would like to. So I'll definitely kind of listen and take your guys' lead on most of this stuff. Really quickly, well, actually, I'll wait until later on. It looks like it's on your agenda for later. But thank you very much for having me. And if you have any questions or anything, don't hesitate to get in touch with me. If there's a place where I should kind of post my contact information for you guys, I'll do that so you can get in touch with me directly. Thank you very much for having me here.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I'm pretty happy.
You got me out of the house. So.
Yeah, out of the house.
I think we're all very happy to have you on board and appreciate your attending when you're just a couple of days into the job. So please feel free to participate as you choose or just listen if that's what you'd like to do today. But it's really nice to have you on board.
Thank you very much.
Next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. So can I get a motion from somebody to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda. It's Allison.
Second. I second it.
That's Susie. Please identify
Oh,
yourself,
Susie. It's Susie. I second it.
just so Diane can get it down for the minutes. I know that the minutes of the last meeting were only sent out less than an hour.
Hold on. Any votes that we take have to be done by roll call, every single one, including the agenda and all that other stupid stuff.
Okay, thank you, Patrolman Linda.
Take 5 or 6 of these stupid Zooms every week.
Okay, so we're back to the agenda and I'm going to do a roll call for approval. Allison?
Yes, approve.
Diane?
Yes, approve.
Kendra? Kendra?
She's on mute.
Okay, Susie?
Yes.
Kendra approved, sorry. I
Yeah.
have stuff in the oven.
Susie?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
Marianne, yes. All right. As I was saying about the minutes, I realized they were just sent out less than an hour ago. So I need your feedback to know if everyone has had time to read them so that we can approve them, or if you want to hold them for the next meeting. So let me ask, is there anybody who is not prepared to comment on and or approve the minutes of the last meeting?
I'm still reading them now.
Put them to the next meeting then.
Yeah.
Okay, we will move these minutes to the next meeting. All right, I don't think there's anyone here for public comment, although I forgot to mention that Joe has joined us from the Ncea, and I hope he's still here, although I don't see his picture. And thanks for coming, Joe. I appreciate that.
Okay,
We'll move on to the official business. The first item here is Laura Stewart's report on activities at the Salt Marsh.
So everybody received my report. Kendra is doing a great job with all of our cookies. I appreciate the extension on that. Kendra's making cookies and royal icing, and people are picking them up. And when I advertised it, we have 20 people. We thought there would be 8 to 10. So Kendra is nicely making more cookies for us. So that was a great program. And it just goes to show it, you never know what you're going to get when you throw it out there. So that was a good one. I even got emails from people that were not signing up for it, but just saying what a great idea. So keep them coming. Our iPad program is still in the works. Jericho, thankfully, is going to look more into that. I did get an email from the Ncea, and who are now, they got a grant from CFAN, so they have Chromebooks and hotspots that people can borrow as a kit if you have a library card, so just like a book. So
Laura, can I stop you there? Because somebody has their speaker on with background conversation going.
Coming up speaking. Mute yourself.
Okay, sorry to
Okay.
interrupt.
Yeah, no problem. So I forwarded that email to Sean Mitchell at the fire department, because the 2 people that signed up with our program came from his people. So he was ecstatic about that. And all you need is a library card, and you can keep it for 2 weeks. And if nobody else is in the works for it, you can extend it just like a book. They have 20 kits. That's
Wow,
fabulous.
that's great.
It is. So now we're kind of like, oh, should we get an iPad and Wi-Fi, or should we do Chromebooks and a hotspot? So we're working on that, and we are just trying to get the most bang for our buck, and see where that goes. And Jericho's going to follow up with that. And
I actually just got an email conversation with artists about that. We should be moving on that one pretty quick. There's just some vendor issues that I think we can be ironing out pretty quickly. That's all I have on that one, sorry.
awesome. Look how quickly he just jumps right in there. I just sent him the email like half an hour ago. Said, guess what? Sorry, but.
Well, I like to buy toys, and this is a
Okay, I'm so glad. I put that in your box because I do not like to buy toys. So that works out well. So that's really just kind of the update. Anybody have any questions on my report about anything?
I just want to, so you're still feeling pretty confident that, I mean, the people at our island home are doing great. It seems like the seniors through the Salt Marsh are doing pretty well too. Are there any concerns that you have?
Not that has been brought to me specifically, no.
Huh?
Everybody seems very happy about what's going on, you know, kind of in the parking lot of the,
Yeah.
you know, the drive-through of the Salt Marsh, and with the programs that are happening either here fitness-wise and or the online classes that people can access through my Senior Planet, Senior Learning Network, and Highway 61.
Have you gained any new people? Are there any, has anyone joined, or what do you see as the?
Join the Salt Marsh?
Yeah.
No, not at this time.
Can I join?
Are you old enough?
I've turned 60.
Yes. I will email you a participant form.
All right.
You're in like Flynn.
I'm going to do a Frank and Mary show about how you joined the Salt Marsh.
There
That's
you
a good
go.
show.
There you go. Perfect. You'll be our first newbie in a while.
Yay.
Yay.
Good. All right, that's all. I just, you know, would love to, I mean, that no one's slipping in, you know, between the cracks. And let's try to grow the program, you know, grow the participants.
Yeah, it's hard to do.
Mary Ann, may I say something?
Go
I
right
know it's
ahead,
not
Joe.
public comment. I'll tell you, the programs that Laura just talked about are outstanding. This senior learning network has some excellent tours. I don't know what the numbers are, but my wife and I frequently get on to watch those. Some are extremely well done and some are, you know, so-so. But the programs she has listed for this coming month are just outstanding. and people should jump on that. Laura did a great job of getting involved in this, and Highway 61 as well. Highway 61 had a program on the future of councils on aging that was really well done as well. So, I mean, I would encourage people who aren't on that senior learning network to get on as soon as they can. It's every Tuesday, Thursday at 2 o'clock. Our time, 2 o'clock.
Through me, so I can send you the link. And yesterday, Joe, did you do the one yesterday? Christmas was.
No, I didn't do yesterday's. I wasn't here at the time.
They had
So.
282 people on their Zoom.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's nationally. It's not just local.
Exactly. So
Question,
very well attended.
do they have, can you, is there an archive that you can go on, or, I mean, do they?
No, they don't record them.
Okay.
Yeah. You have to be there at that time.
This is Mary Ann. I have a question for you, Laura. Is the council, or I mean, is the Salt Marsh allowed to advertise its programs if we wanted to bring in more seniors? I don't know.
Advertise where? Like,
Well, Daybreak.
well, you know, Bill does get everything. And when I sent out the constant contact yesterday or the day before saying that the cookie decorating was full, he emailed back and said, oh, I kind of thought so. I was going to advertise that tomorrow. So he gets everything and he pulls in what he thinks is appropriate.
Has anybody thought about going on the radio station and saying what's going on at the Salt Marsh now with the COVID and all that stuff and all the programs and how to reach things and where to go on the website? I think she'd do that as a PSA. You could talk to the guy and have an interview and say what's happening, because people have no idea what's happening if you're not really involved. And that might get more people to be involved because we've got all these programs going and they might think that we're shut like every other town office.
Laura, would you like to be the person who's, I know you don't like to be the spokesperson.
Absolutely not.
So we'll have to look for somebody who might be a volunteer who could be the guest talking about programs at the Salt Marsh.
Allison,
Volunteer Allison.
Yeah, and that we're still here.
I mean, I don't really know what's going on at the Salt Marsh. I know what's going on, but maybe I should.
Well, we prepare that, whatever presentation we'd make there, we can prepare it. And just, and they usually like to know what we want to talk about ahead of time, because I've been on there several times, and they'll just go with the flow.
I've got my TV show, so I'm well practiced at that stuff. So I'll talk about it, Laura, with you, but I don't really know what's going on.
What do you mean? You're on the Council on Aging. What do you mean you don't know what's going on?
Well, I mean, like, I don't, you know, right.
Do you get the newsletter?
Yeah.
That's what's
I'll just study up.
That's what's going on.
All right, I'll study up.
But it's more important that we let the public know that we're not shut for business like everybody else, and we're still rolling, but we're just rolling remotely. And all these other things are available to seniors, and while they're isolated and sort of locked up in home as we go through this again this winter. And I think it's kind of important for them to see that we're still functioning.
And,
Okay, I'll do that.
On the topic of advertising, I can also talk with the social media manager of the island to maybe have a regular update of the activities at the Salt Marsh. I don't know if that's going to directly hit elderly, but it will hit their families, which might be useful.
I think we want to hit new people too.
Plus they have the calendar in the paper, you know, still in there.
Oh yeah, you just got to remind people a dozen different ways at this point. So I'll discuss with the social media manager for the town if we can get her some updates that she can sort of regularly send out. It's always going to be, you know, it doesn't cost us anything on that front, so that's not a bad thing to do.
Mm-hmm. So can I answer or just comment on two of those things? One is when Arthur Bergeron, the elder law attorney, when he does his Frank and Mary Zoom videos that he would really do here if we were open, I am always the person at the beginning, he says, oh, and I want to introduce Laura Stewart. And I say what's going on at the Salt Marsh. So I've done that 2 or 3 times. So those are recorded at the beginning of each of his lectures that he would actually do here. And what was my other comment? I had another one. Oh, the social media person for the town, Ncea, I do send her my constant contact every Friday, so she can put it up on the town Salt Marsh webpage. So it's there with the calendar and everything that's happening. So she already has all that information of what's going on. Just figuring out what else she would like to, where else she would like to put it. She does put some things on the town newsletter on the bottom. You know, when we were doing the drive-through, I would send her pictures of our drive-throughs and, you know, comment about what's happening. But that's only going out to town employees and whoever, I guess, opts in to receive that email. So it's out there a little bit, but as Jericho said, you know, maybe Ncea could do more with that.
I think we need to get it out to people who don't know anything about it. Like, there's still people in my church that I think would participate that, you know, they have to be invited. They have to, you know, so now that I'm a card-carrying member myself, I'll be able to try to enlist more people. I don't know. But
I could print out the newsletter for you to bring. What would be the best way to invite them? How to get them to know about it? So they have to opt into that. I can't just email it to any Tom, Dick, or Harry. I mean, if you get an email,
maybe
if you like to receive this, you could
That's what I'll do.
my email to people, and they can, or ask them to go on to the town website and request to put on the list. So it's a little, you know, I can't just pick people's emails out of someplace and say,
all right,
send it.
I'll work on that.
But if you want to ask and forward it to them and say, are you interested? Subscribe to this.
Okay.
And thank you, Allison, for volunteering to do the radio spots. That would be great, working with Laura. So that would initiate you into 60-hood.
Yeah. I'm going to be the poster child.
There you go. That's what I just did. I just turned 60 and joined the Salt Marsh.
Right.
This is how you do it.
Also, Kendra, I'd like to thank you so much for the programs that you're doing, because they're a success instantly. So that's wonderful. Great way to start out. Yes. I'm going to move on to the next agenda item, which is discussion of any possible new activities. And we've sort of waded into that subject already. But I think I'll start with a question to you, Allison, because I think you had some very informal talk with the hospital about what an elder expo or healthcare might be. And I wonder if you'd had any more involvement with them.
I've not heard from the lovely people who helped us put it on last time. She was going to get back to me after some event, and that event has come and gone already. So shall I reach out to her? Is that something that we think can happen virtually?
Well, I don't know, because she's the one who suggested to you it might happen virtually. So maybe she has some additional ideas. Maybe just a reminder to her that
yeah,
so that we're still on her agenda or in her thoughts.
Yeah, let me see where she is with that.
Okay, thank you.
Marianne, may I make a comment?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
There are senior centers that are doing this virtually. I have a lot of information from a senior center my sister-in-law attends, and they are doing things virtually. So there are models out there that can be utilized if we choose to do that. A lot will depend upon what's going to happen with these vaccines and what the turnaround is. But if it's possible that we're not having anything physically there, that I think we ought to investigate virtually very, very strongly. It could be very helpful to reaching the type of people you've talked about now that aren't aware of what's going on.
And let me ask you, Joe, are you talking specifically about health issues?
Well, I'm talking about what it could be a combination of both, just as what we had before. I mean, a combination of health and services that are not necessarily health related, but related to something that would be helpful. For example, I don't know if Laura mentioned it in her report, but the hearing person comes out and has volunteered to come out more often to deal with people who are having problems with their hearing aids or of that nature. And I guess she had relatively good turnouts both times that she came.
Oh, you're right here.
Who's talking?
Hello, Joe?
No, I'm not talking. I stopped.
Okay.
There's some background going on that's pretty
Susie,
distracting. Susie, are you at your office? Oh,
So Joe, does that complete your comments?
Yes,
Oh,
thank
okay,
you.
thank you. Does anybody else have anything that they want to suggest that we might even start thinking about as we're going to be remote for several more months?
I do.
Okay, Allison.
So I sent Laura, I ran into, what's her name, Elizabeth Congdon, and talked to her. She's the adult person at the Artists Association. And I talked to her about offering classes, art classes. And she actually responded, and I forwarded that letter to Laura. But they would really like to work with us either remotely or even in person. They have 3 different floors of classroom. They could have, I think, 6 people or 8 people properly distanced in their facility if we wanted to have a place to go to do art. They also could provide online art classes, but that would require getting materials and stuff, which would be just another, if we go there, the instructor would cost $100 an hour. No, $100 a session for a 3-hour, 1-hour prep, 2-hour class, plus materials. And depending upon what we did for a class, that would be, that would be the difference. But I thought if we could, what they'd like to do is have something during the day, because they have programs already going at night. So that works well. Linda Zola won't be doing that art class any longer. So the class that was being held at the Landmark has terminated. So to get a new class and a new group of people and a new spot even, I think we could get a good art class going. So what do you guys think about that?
How much are the materials?
It all depends on what you do, but it would be, if it's watercolor, it's one thing. If it's collage, it would be another thing. So that wouldn't be.
So it's $100 plus an extra whatever it is. It's $100 total, and then each of the materials is an extra.
Right. And I don't have that email in front of me. I think it was $100.
I think it sounds really nice. I don't think that we'll get that many people to actually go to it, because everybody's, 46 people, that's that just spiked positive. But I think the Zoom thing would be cool. I would do the Zoom thing, but I don't think we're going to suggest people go out and go into.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I said initially, but they have been holding classes there, and they have the ventilation, they have the wipe down. So, but maybe so they have a couple of sessions, and the next session, I don't think starts till the new year, but that would give us some time to get it out there to our people and to figure out what we want to do. If we could, secure funding to pay for the instructor, I think that so shall I get more details from her about that, or?
Yeah, Allison, I think it would be, if you could get more details and we could consider it at the January meeting, that would be helpful. Because I think in order to request funding for this, we have to have 6 people sign up. And I agree with Kendra, getting 6 seniors to go into an indoor space these days might be difficult.
Well, then I'll find, I think because the program, I mean, they have certain like semesters, and the first one starts in January. So it would be nice if we could have something up and running. Is this something that if I got the information emailed out, we could decide on and request funding before January?
I guess so, but I think that's going to be, they're asking us to fit into their scheduling process as opposed to putting on something for seniors. That's what.
Oh, no, it would be just for seniors.
But they go on, they have a semester process. In other words, they don't just put it on when we're ready.
I'll ask about that. I mean, since it would be something that we'd be doing remotely instead of at their facility, that might change things.
Like maybe it would end up being in February if we have to have the meeting in January to get it paid. I think, ask them if they would do a February daytime thing, 4 classes or something.
Okay.
And did I understand that it's 100 per class? And that's for 3 hours?
That's what I remember. And there's, I think but let me get that. I mean, don't write that down because that's coming from my memory.
Okay.
But I was surprised at how little it was.
Right. That's why I was asking.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I won't put that in the minutes.
And Laura, I'll email you my response from her.
How about, do they have anyone over there that would be interested in doing like arts and crafts? Because I think that would be entertaining for a lot of seniors, because there are only so many that are probably interested in painting maybe, or maybe not. But if you could sort of set up something where once a month or twice a month you'd get together and be able to do something really creative that would be fun and leave with an end result.
We could do something like the library does, where people pick up a bag full of stuff and then do it on Zoom from home. But I don't know if, I think the Artists Association would be more art, but that could be collage making, or I don't know. I mean, artists don't like the word craft. They like the word maker. They like to make, there was a maker's
artist.
Yeah. But I'll find out. Yeah, I mean, they'll do whatever we want, I guess. And they actually have some COVID funding that would help out in some areas of the program. But before I got too specific, I just wanted to bring it up to you guys, and I'll
Sounds cool.
Follow through with Lizzie about offsite and see if they can build a program for us instead of us fitting into theirs.
Thank you, Allison.
You're welcome.
Is there anybody else who's had any thoughts about anything new that we could consider? And if you can't come up with any now, you could be thinking about them and just pass them on to Laura, even as ideas.
Go, Vanessa.
Laura, what happened with the ornaments? What happened with the ornament idea that I'd sent in?
Oh, the ornament idea is going to happen. We have the gal that used to do our crafting got some things together for a drive-through pickup, grab and go. But then she had to run off island because her husband had some appointments. So it's it's going to come up in a maybe next week, or she's got to come back and I'll advertise that and see how that goes. So we'll do that, and we're also doing a greens, decorating in a teacup like we used to do for the holiday. So that was in the report also, both of them. So those are coming up.
I want to hear Vanessa's idea.
Is Vanessa here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't have you down as in attendance.
I left my laptop at home, and that's why I had to go and grab it.
Oh, okay.
Well, she should be noted for the minutes, Diane, that Vanessa came in at 1:53.
Okay, so I got an email from Josh gray down at the Nantucket Dreamland. And it states, hi Vanessa, thanks for reaching out. We have played many classic titles over the course of the season and had a great senior turnout in general. We did not quite get to creating a special or targeted program since every night through Columbus Day has been sold out. Alas, we have 3 more nights for the season, which ends Saturday, but I will definitely connect with you in the spring about putting something together for Nantucket senior community for the drive-in. Hopefully by then our COVID restrictions will be different and we'll have more programming and financial flexibility.
Good, glad to hear it. So we have time to make recommendations to them and think it through with them.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody else have any comments on Dreamland for Vanessa? Well, I'm going to put it on the agenda for the next meeting. Is that okay with you?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Laura, what about, you have a movie screen over there, right? That you pull down?
In the computer room, yes.
Would that be fun for them to watch, like a Christmas movie, an old Christmas movie or something in there?
Yeah, well, we're closed to the
Distancing
public.
would be a problem.
Oh, right.
It's closed to the
Okay,
public.
never mind. I forgot.
I just look on YouTube and I just put it out on the newsletter.
Right.
They can watch it while scrolling through and seeing what's happening at the Salt Marsh.
Any
Cool.
other comments or questions on this subject of new activities? Okay, the next agenda item was me giving an update on the NCEA, but you're here, Joe. So I think it would be preferable if the information would come from you, since you know everything. So
yes.
you willing to do that?
Okay, I'd be glad to.
Because I was going to mention your annual appeal, and I was going to mention the improvements that you're planning on making to the salt marsh. So, and you probably have other ideas as well.
Yeah, the annual appeal is not going as well this year as it did last year, but I think part of the problem is COVID, and people are kind of, close to the vest. Although if actually we look at the dollar amount for the same period of weeks that it's been out, it's basically been about the same, just a little off. So we're hopeful that it'll continue on an upswing as either the weather gets better or the COVID starts to disappear. 3 major projects, or at least 3 projects, have already been approved. One is to, of course, do the annual fall cleanup of the gardens and the front of the building and so forth. A contract was issued for somebody to do that work already. The other 2 projects that we've been talking about, miniaturization, excuse me, of the Salt Marsh Center for a number of years. And I think this year we've taken a step to do it. We're going to redesign not the great room, but the room next to the great room, so that there is somewhat private yet observed office space, and there's space for people to actually sit comfortably in the lobby area. It'll include moving furniture out of there and so forth and so on. The other thing we're going to do is kind of look at some of these rooms and try to get as much utility of the rooms that we have in the building for other programs. For example, we keep referring to the computer room. Much of the equipment in the computer room is not owned by the Salt Marsh or by the Ncea. If some of that were moved so we can make space for smaller meetings and so forth, we could do things such as that. We also have to talk to the town about just dropping personnel in to the center to do work that may or may not be necessarily related to seniors. Now, I'm not speaking of anyone in particular. They've just moved somebody in with this who deals with disability. That's the appropriate place for her to be. Of course, many seniors have disabilities. And the other project is to complete the painting that we started and to redo the floor surfaces so that all the flooring is exactly the same. So basically you'll have the great room, you will have a reception area that is redesigned, you will have flooring throughout the building that's the same, and we'll look at some of these rooms that are either full of furniture or just sitting there of no value or no use at the present time, and trying to get that corrected. The only other thing that I have is, and maybe Kendra has more information on it than I do, but the NCA decided that what we want to do is express a thank you for all the people who have stuck with the seniors over over this period of time. And what we'd like to do is have some sort of a morning program on New Year's Eve day, the day before New Year's, and do something in terms of one of these drive-throughs with some sort of a food and coffee type of arrangement. And what we'd like to do is have everybody as guests, which would be all directors, all corporation members, all COA members, COA employees, for example, people like me who teach there and people like others who teach there as well as Ginny and Laura. Those arrangements are being done as we speak. I have nothing to do with the exact arrangement, but it's being worked on, and we have to clear a couple of hurdles, but you might want to just note that in pencil to reserve that date as New Year's Eve day for some sort of an event, a thank you event for all the patients and all the dedication people have had to both the COA and the NCEA. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them since I'm on. Thank you.
Joe, is the stuff being done at Salt Marsh and being done now while it's closed to the public that it can, or does it have to wait until
No, you mean the reconstruction type of
the
thing?
renovations?
Yeah, that's why we did this so quickly,
Oh,
so
good.
that it would be done over the period of time that it's closed, yes. Yeah, there will be laborers in there or contractors or whatever in there, but it'll be limited numbers and they have to abide by the COVID rules. So that's why we're doing it now. Hopefully when we reopen, all of this will be done.
Cool. I do have a comment on the,
Can I interrupt you, Kendra?
oh, sorry.
Let me just ask everybody, if you're not speaking, could you please mute your phone? Because we're getting all this background noise and I want everyone to be able to be heard.
And he's usually pretty good. I mean, I've had good experience.
Please mute your phone.
I know that he will return the call.
Susie, can you mute your TV?
Because you're coming up.
Kendra, Susie and Joe. I think it's Joe's phone. I think it's Joe's.
Can you hear me?
No, I'm off, I think.
No, you're
Can
on.
you hear me?
Yes,
I think
you're not on mute.
everyone mutes.
You can use Alt A to mute, and then you can hold spacebar to talk. Your mic is only active when you're space.
It's Joe's. It's got to be Joe's.
It can't be. There's nobody else in the
I
place.
think Susie, can you put your mute button on? Susie, can you hear me?
Well, somehow it disappeared.
No, still there.
Susie, can you hear me?
Susie, I can tell.
No, not ours.
It is Susie's phone. It's Susie because every time it comes on, you can hear her thing come on.
But how come she can't mute herself?
I don't know
She can,
because
but
look at the
she's
yellow line. When the yellow line,
I know. It's been like that the whole time.
yeah.
She's got the wrong thing on.
I apologize, Kendra, for interrupting you.
There she goes.
Apologies.
Now, okay.
Well, actually, the host can mute her.
There's a real simple way to only have the voice be active when you're talking. If you mute yourself and then you hold the space bar when you want to talk.
Yeah, but you're whoever the host is can mute her, which you just did.
That was me. Sorry, I guess I could have done that earlier.
Thank you. Okay, Kendra, go ahead.
What I was getting at was what Joe had alluded to is the thank you on New Year's Day, New Year's Eve day, as opposed to New Year's Day, is the thank you. And right now we're trying to do like a cheese, like a English muffin, egg, cheese, and bacon wrapped in foil with a cup of coffee to come by around 10 or something, and have them come through to say, thank you for that, that Joe had mentioned. So that was one idea, and I didn't know if anybody had another one.
Could I comment on that?
Yeah.
Hot food or any kind of food, you need somebody here that's going to be serve safe. Ginny and I are both serve safe, but we are not comfortable with hot food just because it has to be kept to a certain temperature. And we're not really, we don't do that every day like restaurants do. So hot food, anything that we've passed out on a drive-through has always been cold that people have to heat up. So if there was something that was not hot, or if Kendra, I'm sure is serve safe, was going to be here, then, but I'm not sure through the town how that works, Jericho.
If I bring my Cambro oven, you could take it right out of the Cambro. That's what I do for catering. I'm actually, go ahead.
Well, it's whatever happens, I just have to run that by Roberto just to make sure that Ginny and I are, you know, because we're not food people.
But that is the case. That's correct. But if she's going to have hot food served out of something else, it has nothing to do with the Salt Marsh Center, the building.
Well,
right?
I don't know if it's on town property. You know, I don't know if Ginny and I are held responsible. All of this.
No, I'll contact him about that.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. Okay.
So we know what we're doing the right thing. We're dealing with seniors and food, and if the Cambro is perfect, then, you know, we can go with that, but we just need everything to go past Roberto first.
Yeah, and I
Thanks. Okay, great. Thank you.
And I should ask, do you need any volunteers? Would you like to call on the COA for any volunteers for this?
Me? Kendra?
Kendra or Laura?
Well, I
no,
mean,
we could have volunteers. Yeah, that's not a problem. Once we know what we're going to do, we'll be able to get volunteers very easily.
Okay.
And then COA members who would like, or corporate members would like to volunteer, that would be fine too.
So, and Joe, just to ask, is this something that we would advertise and have people sign up for?
No.
So you know how, or are you just throwing it?
Yeah, I would think reservations wouldn't be. That's my opinion. I think reservations would be necessary to know how much food we have to have in there. And I think it would be helpful to Kendra.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it would be. I don't mean to speak out of turn in the sense of who's getting invited and who's not. I believe that Jean Grimmer had mentioned to me, and I may be misquoting, but it was going to be by invite only. In other words, it's a special thank you to the people that have stuck with. And so it wouldn't be necessarily something that you're going to throw out to just anybody. I think what Jean was getting at, and this is, you know, Joe, please correct me, but I think it was going to be invite and see how many people that they were going to get, and then maybe add a few others. But that was, it's
no,
still.
That's correct, Kendra. Really what we were looking at is we have 24 NCEA members. We have about 50 corporate members, 9 COA members, 2 employees, and then anyone, I think there might be 3 or 4 who work like under independent contracts at Salt Marsh. Those people would be invited and would have to confirm whether they're coming or not to determine what we're going to get. It's not an open invitation to the entire senior community, as I understand it. It's for people who have been involved in trying to keep this place going during this period of time. That's it.
Oh, okay. Any other comments or suggestions related to that?
Not for me.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm all done.
That comes to the end of the agenda items, although I want to mention 2 things. One is at our last meeting, someone suggested inviting Brenda Mcdonough, who is the Nantucket person responsible for people with disabilities. And I did invite her to come to this meeting as a speaker, but unfortunately, she's always off island on Wednesdays, so could not attend. But she also clarified to me that she doesn't really offer services to people with disabilities other than visitors who need a ramp temporarily. Instead, she is an advocate in general for people on island who have disabilities. And you should have all received her very comprehensive description of all of what she does, because Laura sent out her summary to everybody here, and I thought it would be good for all of us to be knowledgeable about what goes on, because a lot of seniors are included in that group of people with disabilities. And of course, it's always, I've heard of a lot of people who come here as visitors and need a ramp because they have an elderly person or a disabled relative who needs a ramp. They're in a wheelchair. So nice to know about that. So just to point you in the direction of what Laura already sent you, so that you have it at your fingertips when you need it. And the last thing is, I want to mention our January meeting is going to be an unusual meeting. We're not going to have agenda items like this. It's going to be a facilitated discussion about possible options for the future of our island home. And it's going to be facilitated by two people, one named Herb Taylor and the other one, Michelle Monroe. So we're going to be part of their process of moving forward with the island home. And they want to hear specifically from all members of the Council on Aging what our concerns are, what our suggestions are. So the entire January meeting is going to be devoted to that. So I'm hoping that you'll put it on your calendar now and make sure you attend, because it's our best option for getting all of our ideas incorporated into the whole process of what the island home is going to be in the future. So
I've got something that I'd like to share. I wasn't able to make the Elder Services of Cape Cod and the Islands board meetings this summer because I was working. But I have attended the last two, and I think we should put that back as an agenda item that I will speak to, because there is a survey that I'm going to send to Laura that I'd like to see put into the Salt Marsh Gazette. Any input that we have from our zip code can only help us going forward with the with elder services on the state level. So it's getting easier to participate with Zoom and the way people are getting more involved with electronics. I mean, their senior center is trying to do what we've already done when it comes to getting the Chromebooks and some of those things. So there are learning opportunities for them from us, and also from us to them. So I'd like to sort of have that be back on the agenda. And what I got mostly from this last meeting was that this survey would be important. I think we're really fortunate that with our testing situation, there's only 2 places to get tested on the Cape. One in Barnstable and one in Harwich. So if you live on the Cape, you have to drive to who knows where. So we're really fortunate in some ways, as we all know, but yeah, I'd like to get that back, because the meeting is going to be the Tuesday before this meeting for most intents and purposes. So it'll be right on the top of my head.
So I will add that automatically to every agenda after January. So beginning February, Allison?
Sure.
Because January, we're just going to be talking about the island home.
Right, okay.
Mary Ann, may I say something relative to that?
Please.
I think it's really important to have a representative on that Cape and Islands board. I read a report, or partially a report, that came from the governors. And the thing that struck my attention is they had a map of the entire state that were multicolored in terms of a lot of progress, limited progress, and then a very limited progress. And everything in that map, every single city and town in that map had a color, except Nantucket. Nantucket was blank. no yellow, no red, no green. And I think, that struck me as odd because I know things are going on. And I think the way to get around that is to really follow what Allison has suggested in terms of these surveys and getting these things on, so that they recognize, one, that some things are going on here, and also they recognize that or can tell us what we have to do to improve. So I mean, I totally endorse what you just said. I think it's extremely important. But I think having a representative is very, very important. If a person cannot attend, someone ought to go in their behalf. Thank you.
In order to be on that advisory board, you have to be installed in June. So
Right.
if there's anybody who would like to be the representative, I just did it because we didn't have anybody back when I was the chair. So if anyone would like to be involved with that, it's really interesting. Most of the people who are on that advisory committee are much more involved with elder services and senior centers. You know, like one is a nutrition person at a senior center, and so she, you know, blends right into the group. But if anyone has interest in that, you know, let me know. I'd be happy to have someone else go, and I can go, you know, from now on. I just had a conflict for two or three meetings during the high season. So, but they're Zoom meetings, so it's much easier than actually going to the Cape, which I used to do all day.
Yeah,
Is
I
there
think it should be
anybody
noted that, oh, I'm sorry.
Go
I
ahead.
think it should be noted that at least 3 Nantucket Council on Aging members have been presidents of that group at one time or another. So, I mean, it's really important to be involved, and you get a great deal of information from it. So that's it. That's all I have.
Thanks, and thank you, Allison, for taking the lead on this. I'm wondering, is there anybody right now who has an interest in also doing this along with Allison? Well, please think about it. If it's something that you can do by Zoom, then it doesn't mean having to travel. So that's one of the things that's good about the pandemic, is that sometimes you can do things more easily. So anyone who has an interest, please think about it and let Allison know. And thank you very much, Allison, for being our representative. I appreciate it. Yes, Kendra? Is there anything else that anybody has before we adjourn the meeting? Okay, in that case, can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Okay, I'm gonna do a roll call. Allison?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Vanessa?
Yes.
Kendra?
Yes.
Susie?
Says yes.
She said she's muted.
Linda?
Yes.
Marianne, yes. Okay,
And
thank you,
who-
everybody.
Well
Who
done,
seconded that?
Marianne.
I did.
Linda.
Linda did.
Bye, Jericho.
Who made the motion?
Thank you
And
very
Joe,
much,
thanks very
everybody.
much for attending.
I think
You're
Ken
welcome.
did.
And
Thank you.
I'll look forward to you guys next time. Thank you very much, everybody.
Oh, Jericho, yes, thank you.
My pleasure.
Looking forward to working with you.